us now. Hello.
Hello, Amy.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Well, what emotions do you feel when you see the Canadian flag flying?
Well, it's been something that has fluttered in my heart for my entire life. I think it's a beautiful flag. I remember as a child witnessing on the news the great flag debate between Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson and former Prime Minister and Conservative leader John Diefenbaker. And the discussions that went on at that time until they finally chose the flag that is probably one of the most beautiful standards in the world today. Simple in its design, but evocative in terms of what it means for our country.
How have your feelings towards national pride and the flag changed since erecting the one down by the river 12 years ago?
Well, first of all, our team, Dave Woodall, Lisa Colody, Ann Arquette, Mary Baruth, and also for a bit, Michael Beale, we worked hard, over 5 years to get that project underway and standing. The interesting thing is people have come up to all of us and have said, we got engaged under the flag, we meet under the flag. People have come, new Canadians have come and reaffirmed their oath of allegiance to Canada under that flag. And we've heard those stories. So, and as we told the deputy minister, of cultural affairs at the time when he came to visit the project, we gave him the 2-minute tour around the flag. It doesn't take long to go around it. And I said to him, you know why the flag is here? And he said, why? Because Canada begins here. It doesn't end here. It begins here on this waterfront facing our good friends, to the north of us in Detroit, the Americans that we love and respect. And that's why this flag is here.
There's been times in recent years when some Canadians have had issues with the flag, particularly when it was used as a symbol for protest or movements in the pandemic, and then when people have been troubled by events in our country's history, such as residential schools. What do you say to people who don't feel proud when they see the flag?
Well, it's been used in a lot of protests, and it's been inverted, which breaks my heart. It's not illegal to do that. It's a form of expression, and it's limited to, as our constitutional said, demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society when we have freedom of expression. It's enhanced in the Constitution. But I would tell them that's not the way to do it. Inverting the flag or carrying a flag that denigrates a prime minister with awful language. That's not how to do it. Get involved, get engaged, work in your community, run for office if you have to. Be vocal. But to me, those are cowardly acts. That's not what Canada is all about. What Canada is all about is standing together, debating issues, working together as far as that goes. But protesting for the sake of protesting, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, we've seen sort of the latter in the last few weeks. We've seen sort of this groundswell of nationalism because of American President Donald Trump talking about tariffs and making Canada the 51st state. How have you sort of noticed the concept of patriotism changing over the last several years?
Well, there's no question that it's escalated because, first of all, our sovereignty is ours, and no one should attack our sovereignty or say things, even if it's flippant, even if it's attempt to, as part of the quote-unquote art of the deal. But that's for, the economists to talk about and so on. But to suggest that we're something other than a sovereign nation is wrong. It's offensive. It's shameful. And it ought not to be talked about, by him or anyone, associated with him. We are a freestanding country, an ally. As we heard our mayor talk about, the history that we've had, our countries over the years, standing side by side. I think it's quite frankly shameful, for he or anyone to talk along those lines.
How do you think new generations of Canadians view the flag, maybe compared to those of us who saw it raised for the first time in 1965? I wasn't there for that, but how do you think sort of that we bridge the generations with the flag?
I think the flag has meant a lot of things to a lot of people. I know that when you travel the flag, when you wear it on your lapel, as I have right now, when you put it on your knapsack when you're traveling, people recognize Canadians. You can go to the Netherlands, for example, and the Dutch, remember even the generations following what we did to help rehabilitate to that country and in the war. You go anywhere, and people recognize the importance of Canada as an institution and what we have to offer in terms of a stability and a sense of pride and a sense of compassion and understanding. And I think that's the Canadian way. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to say, you're the best country in the world, although my late father said on his deathbed, Canada's the greatest country. And he was an immigrant from the former Yugoslavia, at the end of the war, Croatian, by descent, and said this is the best country in the world because it gave him an opportunity after, leaving war-torn Europe to do something, special for his family. And these are the stories that we have to string together and, remind ourselves as to how important this country is because of the ability to be able to give people a second chance.
As a poet laureate, if you were to describe the flag in a poetic way, I sort of prompted you that would be asking you for this, but what would you say? Do you have something you'd like to read?
Yes, I want to share with you a poem that was published a few years ago and adapted, for a larger audience. And I wrote it as a result of the raising the flag, but more as a result of my feelings about Canada in terms of who we are as a community. So I'm going to dedicate this poem to all our listeners, to all our Canadians, and to all the friends of Canada. A lot of them are listening. I've got friends across the border, and I'm sure they're tuning in today, who love this country as much as we do and respect, our country as much as we all do. The poem is called "And This We Build." In a big country, you can dream big dreams, raised on the promise of chance and opportunity. Nurtured by inspiration, stimulation, motivation, you can rise with the sun and sleep with the moon and live in between extremes. In a free country, you learn the language of the street, tough it out with your gang and leave behind your broken toys, learn a trade and do a job and labor till it's late, feed your vision and march to your own beat, work as hard as you desire, kindled by a fire that brands your passionate soul. In a great country, you can choose to toil as hard as you wish, take risks, tempt fate, build foundations, hoist possibilities, shoulder burdens, run the race, finish first or last, or somewhere in between. In a big country, you survey the land, breathe deeply and share a dream. You can build a team and raise a flag and lift a flagging spirit with song on a day intended for brilliance. In a good country, big and bold, it is the people who sing, the people who believe in their country, big and beautiful and built to last.
Peter, thank you so much. What do you hope the flag stands for and represents for the next 60 years?
I think, of course, I'm optimistic that we're going to get through the difficulties of this time and we're going to emerge a stronger country, but a compassion and a reasoned country. I hope some of the talk, and I'm not an economist, the discussion about increasing trade and understanding between the provinces, I think that's going to be beneficial to us. I think as a unifying force, and I used to say this back in the day, I used to love listening to Peter Zosky on CBC because I used to call him Captain Canada, because he would join people from Newfoundland to BC sitting at a kitchen table talking. I think it's going to engage us in more discussions about who we are as Canadians and prompting us to do things better than we have in the past. I'm very hopeful that the next 60 years, and I won't be around, but I hope it's going to be something really special for my children and my grandchildren, a Canada that is open, a Canada that is understanding, a Canada that is a country that continues to create those opportunities that my late father used to speak about.
Peter, it's such an interesting timing that we would celebrate the flag this week, but I appreciate you coming in today. Thank you.
Well, if you're going to be there on February 15th, raise that flag, think about it, and think about for a moment how lucky we all are. Oh, Canada, our Canada.
Peter Hrastovec was the chair of the committee that brought the Great Canadian Flag to Windsor's riverfront in 2012. The maple leaf flag turned 60 on Saturday. Another song here to sort of bookend this conversation nicely, Michael.
When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me